this video lecture, we will discuss the two important parameters of the operational amplifier, and that is the CMRR, which is also known as the common mode rejection ratio of the operational amplifier, and another parameter is a slew rate. So let us see what is the CMRR of an operational amplifier. Now we know that the operational amplifier is a kind of a difference amplifier. So it has a two inputs. Let us have a V1 input is there and another input is V2. This is your inverting terminal, non-inverting terminal, and here we have this output voltage VO. Correct? So being a difference amplifier, this output voltage is proportional to the difference of the two signals V1 minus V2. So this thing we can write as AD into V1 minus V2. So here AD, this AD is known as a differential gain of the amplifier. So it is given as VO divided by V1 minus V2. And V1 minus V2 is nothing but it is a difference between the two input voltage. So it is known as a difference input signal, and it can be represented as a VD. So this is right, we can write as the difference signal is V1 minus V2. So as a result, this AD, the differential gain is written as a VO divided by VD. Remember, this is known as a differential gain of op-amp. So VD is the difference signal, VO is the output voltage, and the AD is a differential gain of the operational amplifier. This AD, this voltage gain, we can also represent in terms of dB. So in dB, if I want to write in dB, then it will be written as a 20 log a output voltage divided by a difference input signal. So here we have a differential gain in terms of dB. Correct? I think so. Now it is clear what is the differential gain of the operational amplifier. Okay. Now look at this. That if the input voltage here, that if the V1 must be is equal to V2, then naturally the difference signal is going to be a 0, or the output voltage is going to be a 0. So in that case, the output voltage should be 0. This is in an ideal case. Remember, if the V1 and V2 both are identical, apply same potential, then output voltage has to be 0. But practically this is not there. Okay. Now if we take one example, let us say if my V1 is equal to a 250 microvolt and the V2 is a 200 microvolt. Means in this case, what will happen? That the V1 minus V2 will be a 50 microvolt. The difference is 50 microvolt. And if we see what is the output voltage, then here in this case, I will find the output voltage. That this output voltage is, let us say, a 500 microvolt. 10 times. Correct? Now to the same operational amplifier, if I will apply a V1 is equal to a 1050 microvolt, V2 is a 1000 microvolt. Then again, if you see, the difference between the two input voltage is a 50 microvolt. But what we are finding in this case, the output voltage is not a 500 microvolt. Here we find that the output voltage is something higher, and that is 550 microvolt. So two things you have to remember, that if the two input voltage are same, V1 and V2 is same, then in an ideal operational amplifier, the output voltage must be zero, but practically here this output voltage is not zero. Second thing, that if we apply the input voltage having the same difference, that is a 50 microvolt, then if you measure the output voltage, it is a 500 microvolt. Another set of the input voltage where the difference is 50 microvolt, then if you measure, then it is a 550 microvolt. Actually, in both the case, the output voltage has to be same, but here it is not same. It means the output voltage is not only depending on the difference of the two input voltage. Remember, here the output voltage is not only depending on the difference of the two input voltage. This output depends on the average of the two input voltage, which is known as a common mode signal. Remember. So here this output voltage, in this case, if we see, then the output voltage is not proportional to the V1 minus V2. It is also depends on what is the average value of the two input signal. That is a common signal, common average signal, and it is a V1 plus V2 divided by 2. That average value is a V1 plus V2 divided by 2, and this V1 plus V2 is known as a common mode signal. It is known as a common mode signal and represented as Vc is equal to V1 plus V2 divided by 2. Correct? So, here we can write that this output voltage is proportional to Vc, and if we write a proportionality factor, then the output voltage is equal to, we write this as a AC into Vc, where AC is known as a common mode signal, a common mode gain of the amplifier. Remember. So here we define this, that the common mode gain of op-amp, that is a AC, is written as VO by VC. So remember, the operational amplifier has a two different gain. One of the gain is a differential gain, that is AD is equal to VO by VD, which depends on what is the difference between the two input signal. And another gain is a common mode gain, which depends on what is the average value of the two input signal. And therefore, the output voltage, the resultant output voltage of the operational amplifier, we can write in this way. Output voltage of op-amp is written as VO is equal to AD into VD plus AC into VC. Remember, this output voltage is AC into VC, and that output voltage from here, it is a AD into VD. So this is the total output voltage of the operational amplifier. So actually, what should be the ideal value of ID and IC? The operational amplifier has to amplify only the difference between the two signals. Remember, and therefore, for an ideal operational amplifier, the AD must be a very, very large, or you can say it should be a infinite. For ideal op amp, that AD must be equal to a infinite, and that AC, that operational amplifier doesn't have to amplify the common level of the signal. It doesn't have to amplify the average value of the signal. Remember, and therefore the common mode gain of the operational amplifier has to be 0. AD must be infinite and the AC must be a 0 for the ideal operational amplifier. And based on this, we can define one more term which is known as a common mode rejection ratio. Common mode rejection ratio means it is indicating the ability of a operational amplifier to reject the common signal. Remember, that is known as the common mode rejection ratio. So here we can define the CMRR, that is representing what? Ability of operational amplifier to reject the common mode signals. So here we can define the CMRR in this way, that is given as CMRR, and as a symbol we represent as a rho, and it is a ratio of a differential gain of the operational amplifier to the common mode gain of the operational amplifier. Remember, so AD by AC, that ratio is known as the common mode rejection ratio of the operational amplifier. Normally the CMRR is represented in dB, so we can write a CMRR rho into dB equal to a 20 log AD by AC. And remember, for ideal operational amplifier, AC has to be a 0 and the AD has to be a infinite. Means for the operational amplifier, ideal operational amplifier, a CMRR must be infinite. For ideal op amp, that the rho must be equal to infinite. So basically this rho is indicating by how much amount your common signal is rejected by the operational amplifier. Okay, now look at this, that using the CMRR, how we can calculate the output voltage. So output voltage is written as AD into VD plus AC into VC. Correct? So if we take AD into VD as a common, then we have 1 plus AC by AD into VC by VD. Now AC by AD is such equal, it is a reciprocal of the CMRR. So we can write AD into VD into 1 plus 1 upon rho Vc by Vd. Correct? So this is the output voltage of the operational amplifier in terms of the CMRR. So here you can see that if the common level is also present, common signal is also present, different signal is also present. But if the CMRR rho is high, if the rho is high, then this term is going to be a 0. And in that case, we have this output voltage equal to AD into VD. So this term is going to be 0. So, and that's why you have to select the operational amplifier which has a very high value of the common mode rejection ratio, and that will give you the perfect output voltage proportional to the difference of the two input voltage. Okay. Now let us see a few examples. So the first example, determine the output voltage of the differential amplifier for input voltage of 300 microvolt and 240 microvolt. So here if you see that the V1 is given as a 300 microvolt, V2 is a 240 microvolt. The differential gain of the amplifier is 5000. Differential gain means the AD is given a 5000. The two different value of the CMRR is given, that is 100 and a 1 lakh. So here we have value of rho 1 is 100 and another CMRR is a 10:5. So I have to calculate the output voltage for two different value of the rho, that is 100 and 10:5. Correct? So here if we see that V1 minus V2, V1 is a 300, V2 is a 240, means what is the different signal? Different signal is Vd is equal to a 300 minus 240, and that is equal to a 60 microvolt. Then we will see, calculate what is the common mode signal. So common mode signal is equal to a 300 plus 240 divided by 2. It is a V1 plus V2 divided by 2. And this thing, I think 540 divided by 2. So this will be a 270 microvolt will be there. Correct? So now we will calculate the rho. Because for the calculation of the output voltage, we require the AC also. Remember, what is the formula for the output voltage? It is given as a AD into VD plus AC into VC. AD is given to you, that is a 5000. VD is, we have already calculated 60 microvolt. VC we have calculated, that is a 270 microvolt. But the AC is unknown. That is the common mode signal is not given to you. Okay? So for two different value of rho, we will calculate what is the common mode gain. Okay? So first of all, we take this, that the rho 1 is equal to 100. And now we know that the rho 1 is equal to a AD by AC, and therefore the AC will be equal to AD by rho 1. Correct? Differential gain divided by rho 1. What is the differential gain? It is a 5000, and rho 1 is given a 100. So this will comes out to be a 50. So in the first case, if the CMRR is 100, then the common mode gain is 50. So the output voltage, now we can write as AD into VD plus AC into VC. And AD is 5000 divided by difference gain, differential input voltage is 60 microvolt plus AC is 50 and the common mode signal is 270 microvolt. Correct? So now you can calculate this output voltage and this will comes out to be 330.5 millivolt. Remember. So this is the output voltage in first case. Correct? Same way you can calculate for the row 2. Correct? So let us see. Row 2 is equal to 10:5. So what is my AC? AC will be equal to AD by row 2. AD is 5000 divided by 10⁵. 5000 divided by 10⁵. So this will comes out to be a 0.05. You can see the common mode gain is very small when the CMRR is very large. So the output voltage is equal to AD into VD plus AC into VC, and we can calculate this 5000 multiplied by the 60 microvolts plus AC is 0.05 multiplied by 270 microvolts. And if we calculate this, then approximately this will comes out to be 300 millivolt. So you can see in the first case, when this row 1 is 100, at that time the output voltage was 313 millivolt. Now when this CMRR is very large, then this is here. So here, when the CMRR is very large, then it gives the output voltage proportional to the difference of the two input signals. Okay. So what is that? Operational amplifier has a differential gain of 80 dB and a CMRR of 95 dB. Remember, here the gain is not directly given, but it is given in a dB. So we will write this AD, that is in dB. It is given as 80 dB. Then the CMRR means the rho. It is also given in dB, and that is 95 dB. V1 and V2 are also given. So V1 is equal to 2 microvolt. V2 is 1.6 microvolt. Calculate the differential and common mode output. Remember, here you don't have to calculate what is the total output. But for the differential, what is the output, and for the common mode, what is the output. So first of all, whatever the AD and rho is given in dB, you have to convert this in a normal mode. So AD is given as 80 dB. AD is given as 80 dB. Correct? So AD in dB. Remember, it is nothing but 20 log AD, not. So this one is 80 equal to 20 log AD. So we have log AD is equal to 80 divided by 20, and that will be a 4. And if we take the anti-log, then the AD will be equal to 10:4. Correct? Same way, here, rho is given as 95 dB, and the rho into dB is a 20 log rho, and this is 95 equal to 20 log rho. So we can say that the log rho is equal to 95 divided by 2. So this is 4.5. 95 divided by 20 is 4.75. Remember, this is 4.75. And therefore, the value of the rho is equal to, if you take anti-log, then this will come out to be 5.6234 into 10⁻⁴. So remember, for this example, first of all, you have to convert this dB into a normal value. So here I will write it that AD is a 10⁻⁴, and the value of rho is 5.6234 into 10⁻⁴. Okay? Now we will calculate what is the differential output and the common mode output. And the first one, differential output. Okay. So in a differential output, we know that the output voltage is given as, or we have defined this differential gain AD is equal to the output voltage divided by V1 minus V2. Correct? Or you can say it is a output voltage divided by a differential input. And therefore, the output voltage is given as AD into V1 minus V2. What is AD? AD is 10⁻⁴, and V1 minus V2, that is the 2 minus 1.6 microvolt, or you can say 10⁻⁻6 volt. So 2 minus 1.6 is a 0.4 into 10⁻⁴. So, and here we have a micro. So this will come out to be a 4 millivolt. That you can calculate by yourself. Correct? So the differential output is a 4 millivolt. Now we have to calculate what is the common mode output. Same way, what is the definition for the common mode? Correct? So, according to this common mode gain, AC is given as a output voltage divided by the common mode signal. Correct? What is a common mode signal? So it is a V1 plus V2 divided by 2. Common mode signal is V1 plus V2 divided by 2. And therefore, here this is not a AD, but it is a AC. Okay, so the output voltage is equal to AC into V1 plus V2 divided by 2. But remember, in this example, AC is not given. And that AC we have to calculate using this value of CMRR. So we know that the rho is equal to, it is a AD by AC, and therefore the AC is equal to AD by rho. The differential gain is 10:4 and the rho is 5.6234 into 10:4. So here if you calculate this, then this will come out to be 0.1778. That is the differential gain of the amplifier. So here we insert this value. So from this we can write the output voltage is equal to, what is the difference gain? It is a 0.1778 into V1 plus V2 divided by 2. So V1 is a 2 plus 1.6 divided by 2 into a microvolt. And if we calculate this, this will come out to be 0.32 microvolt. So in this way, you can also separately calculate what will be the common mode output and what will be the differential output. Here in this example you can see the differential output is a 4 millivolt, while the common mode output is 0.32 microvolt. So normally in all the operational amplifier, the common mode gain will be very small and the differential gain will be very large. Okay, now we will discuss another parameter of the operational amplifier, that is the AC parameter, and it is known as a slew rate of a operational amplifier. So let us see what is the slew rate and what is the effect of a slew rate on a sinusoidal signal as well as on a square wave. So if we take one simple example, that let us say a operational amplifier with the unity gain. Here I am applying a kind of a AC signal, and unity gain is there, means there is no feedback resistor, and here we have this output voltage. Correct? Now I am applying a signal of a 5 volt a square wave. Remember, this is a 0 volt. Here we have a 5 volt at the input, and let us say the frequency of this signal is a 100 kilohertz. Remember, I am applying a higher frequency. Now, this operational amplifier has a unity gain. It is a voltage follower circuit. Means whatever my input signal is there, then the same signal has to be present in the output. So the output signal must be like this. It should be also of a 0 volt, and 5 volt because the unity gain is there. So if you have the ideal operational amplifier, then the shape of the input signal and the shape of the output signal will be identical. Here the closed loop gain of this operational amplifier is 1. But practically if you see that the output is not a purely a square wave. If you see, then this output is changing in this way. Then it is a constant, then it requires some time to alter from 5 volt to 0 volt. Here if you see, this waveform, output waveform is like this. So why this is happening? Why this operational amplifier is not responding immediately to the input signal? Here, this operational amplifier requires some time to reach the maximum output voltage. And that time here, if you see, this time is delta T. And you can say this time is delta VO. That is our output voltage. So, this thing or this phenomenon is defined as one parameter which is known as a slew rate. So, what is the slew rate? That is defined as maximum rate of change of output voltage with unity time. So remember, at the input my signal is changing from 0 to 5 volt within a no time. Within a fraction of the second, the output is changing. But here input is changing. But in the output, the operational amplifier requires some time to change this output voltage, and that's why the output shape of the output signal is not identical to the input. So this thing can be defined as S is equal to dVO by dt, but the maximum, because the output signal has to change from 0 to maximum value. So S is given as dVO by dt, that is known as a slew rate. And here if you see that unit of the slew rate is volt per second, or it is represented in terms of volt per microsecond. Normally, if you see the data sheet of the operational amplifier, then the slew rate is given as a unit of volt per microsecond. Now, what is the reason why the output is not suddenly changing with the input? Here, whatever the operational amplifier we have, then inside the operational amplifier, there are some capacitors. To improve the frequency response, high frequency response of the operational amplifier, there are some capacitors inside the operational amplifier. And these capacitors are going to be charged and they are going to be discharged. So, charging rate and the discharging rate is different, and that's why the output signal is not suddenly changed to the maximum value. So, these capacitors are known as compensation capacitor. Remember, in the operational amplifier, there are compensation capacitors. Why you require the compensation capacitor? Because to improve the stability of op-amp at high frequency. And this capacitor is charged, and already we know that the capacitors are not charging linearly, they are charging exponentially. So here the charging time will be there as well as the discharging time will be there, and due to that here this output is not identical to the input at a higher frequency. So if you want to measure what is the slew rate of this, then you can find out the slope of this. Whatever the rising edge is there, or you can also take this a falling edge of the signal, and that will give you the slew rate, because this is representing a delta VO, this is representing delta T, and from that you can calculate the stability factor. Sorry, you can calculate the slew rate of the operational amplifier. Now we can also calculate the slew rate in another way, because there are capacitors. So for the capacitor, the charge on the capacitor we can write as Q is equal to CV. And this is the basic equation. Now the charge on the capacitor is going to change with the time. So we can have this equation, that is dq by dt is equal to C into dV by dt. Correct? Or you can say voltage across the capacitor. Now dq by dt is nothing but it is a current I. So C into dVc by dt. And this dVc by dt, remember, is nothing but we can define this as a slew rate, and therefore this is equal to, we can write I by C, and normally this is calculated for a maximum current. So I maximum divided by C. So in this, using this also we can calculate what is the slew rate of the operational amplifier. Now if you take a typical value for the 741, the maximum charging current is a 15 microampere, and the value of the compensation capacitor is a 30 picofarad. Remember, these compensation capacitors are very, very small. So if we calculate this, then the S will be equal to, slew rate will be equal to 15 into 10 raised to minus 6 divided by 30 into 10 raised to minus 12. So here this will come out to be a 0.5 megavolt per second. Remember, it is a 0.5 megavolt per second, but we represent in terms of the microsecond. So this is written as a 0.5 volt per microsecond. So the typical value for the slew rate is 0.5 volt per microsecond. Yes, sir. Okay. So different operational amplifier will have a different value of the slew rate. Now let us see what is the effect of a slew rate on the output signal. Okay. So first of all we will take an example of a square wave. So let us say we have this square wave. This amplitude of the square wave is 0 volt and a 5 volt. Suppose I have an operational amplifier which has a slew rate of a 0.5 volt per microsecond. Correct? Then we will consider, let us say, this width of this pulse is 40 microseconds. Correct? Now, what will be the output? So, if the slew rate of the operational amplifier is 0.5 volt per microsecond, it means in 1 microsecond, the output voltage rises to 0.5 volt. So, for a 0.5 volt, it requires the time of a 1 microsecond. Now, to change the output voltage from 0 to 5 volt, so for the 5 volt, how much time is required? Naturally, it will require a 10 microsecond. So, within a 10 microsecond, it will go to the 5 volt. So, if this is a 40 microsecond pulse width, then this will be a 10 microsecond will be there, and here your output is going to be reached in this way. The output voltage will change from 0 to 5 in a 10 microsecond. Remember. Then it will remain constant. Now here there is a falling edge, so sudden change is there. Then here also, from changing from 5 volt to 0 volt, it will require another 10 microsecond. So this time period will be a 10 microsecond. So here you can see, if my input is a square wave of a 40 microsecond pulse width, then the output is not exactly a square wave. Now, let us say another pulse which has a width of only a 20 microsecond. Pulse width of a 20 microsecond. Remember, and the amplitude is from 0 to plus 5 volt. In this case also, we use the same operational amplifier which has a slew rate of a 0.5 volt per microsecond. So, now what will happen? That within a 10 microsecond, it will reach to the 5 volt. So here if we have, somewhere here, we have a 10 microsecond, then the output voltage of the operational amplifier will reach in this way. Then it is going to remain constant, and then it will require another 10 microsecond to reach the 0. Here you can see the signal is more distorted. Okay. Now to understand this, again we take one more pulse. Let us say this is of a 10 microsecond pulse width of, I am decreasing the width of the pulse, remember, correct? And the same operational amplifier we use, slew rate of 0.5 volt per microsecond. And how much time it will require? 10 microsecond to reach the 5 volt. So this is a 0 volt, this is a 5 volt. So here in this case, now the output voltage will change from 0 to 5 volt in this manner, because this is a 10 microsecond. And then the output will change after 10 microsecond in this way. So this is a 10 microsecond, this is also a 10 microsecond. Now you can see the square wave is converted into a triangle wave. So basically what is happening? We are decreasing the pulse width. It means we are increasing the frequency of the square wave. Here in this case, if you calculate the frequency, then this will be a 12.5 kilohertz. If you calculate this, then this will be a 25 kilohertz. And for this, the frequency is a 50 kilohertz. Correct? So, if the frequency will be low, here now instead of a 12 kilo 40 microsecond, if you take a 80 microsecond or a 100 microsecond, say, if we have a pulse width of 100 microsecond, correct? How much time is required to reach the 5 volt? That is a 10 microsecond. And the 10 microsecond means it is here, somewhere here. So, this will be the output of this square wave. So, here you can see that if the frequency is low, then the shape of the input signal and the output signal will be almost same. But as we increase the frequency, then at particular frequency, your square wave is going to be converted into a triangle wave. Now let us see what is the effect of a slew rate on a sine wave. Instead of square wave, if we apply the sine wave. My input signal, remember, here it is a kind of a sine wave. Let us say my input signal is given as Vm sine omega t. Then here the output voltage will be also a Vm sine omega t, because the closed loop gain of this amplifier is unity. So the input signal and the output signal must be identical. Correct? Okay. So if I want to calculate the slew rate, then I have to differentiate this. That is dVo by dt, and this is Vm into omega sine omega t. Sorry, it is a cos. Cos omega t. But slew rate is defined as maximum rate of change, and maximum rate of change means you require the maximum value of this, and the maximum value of cos omega t is 1. So here for maximum rate of change, cos omega t is equal to 1. So the slew rate is defined as dVo by dt. For maximum, it is written as a omega into Vm. And this is nothing but 2 pi f into Vm. Correct? So, one of the important formula for the slew rate is 2 pi f into Vm. Vm, you have to consider a peak value. Remember, it is not a RMS value, it is not a peak to peak value. You have to consider a peak value. Now from this, we can find out that for which frequency the signal will be a distorted. Because here we have seen in a square wave that as we increase the frequency, the distortion is go on increasing. And at particular frequency, the square wave converted into a triangle wave. So that maximum frequency you can calculate in this way. F maximum is given as S divided by 2 pi into Vn. That is a maximum undistorted frequency. Now, if the applied frequency is greater than this, then your signal is going to be a distorted. Remember. So, here if you see, we also find there's one more relation for the slew rate, and then you can see that the slew rate is given as dVo by dt. Correct? Now I can write this in this way, that is dVi by dt. Sorry, dVi by dVi. So we can write this dVo by dVi into a dVi by dt. And dVo by dVi is nothing but it is a closed loop gain of the amplifier. And this is dVi by dt. So the slew rate is another expression for the slew rate, that is a closed loop gain into a dVi by dt. And from this we can say that if the S is greater than dVi by dt, then your signal is undistorted. But S is less than dVi by dt, the signal is distorted. So if S, and what is S? That is a dVo by dt is greater than dVi by dt. So slew rate is greater than dVi by dt, then this signal will be undistorted. And here I will write, if S is greater than dVi by dt, the signal will undistorted. But S is less than dVi by dt, signal will be distorted. Remember. So if we have a lower frequency, remember that if I have a sine wave of a lower frequency, means that my dVi by dt is very small. Correct? Here the f is equal to, I will take a 1 kilohertz. So whatever the rate of change of the input voltage is there, this is my input voltage. And if you find out the dVi by dt for this, here it is very small. In this case, your input signal and the output signal will be almost identical if the ACL is equal to 1. So, dVi by dt is small. But if we have a higher frequency. Remember. But let us say the frequency is equal to a 20 kilohertz. So dVi by dt, in this case it is a large. And if this is a large, then the slew rate. So here your output signal will be changed in this way. And instead of a sine wave, you will get a kind of a triangle wave. So the sine at higher frequency, the operational amplifier will convert the sine wave into a triangle wave. And for the ideal op-amp, you have to remember, for ideal op-amp, the slew rate must be a infinite or it should be a very large. If the slew rate, remember, here for the 741, we have seen the slew rate is for 741, S is 0.5 volt per microsecond. Then it is a slower one. That op-amp is known as the slower op-amp. But there are operational amplifiers which has a slew rate of a 100 or a 1000 volt per microsecond. Means that instantly they are changing the output voltage. And this operational amplifier is known as a faster op-amp. So when you are dealing with the higher frequency, then you have to use the operational amplifier which has a large value of a slew rate. Okay, now we will see some example. An op-amp operates as a unity gain buffer with 3 volt peak to peak square wave input. Means the output will be also a 3 volt peak to peak. The slew rate is 0.5 volt per microsecond. Find the maximum frequency of operation. So what is given here? In this example, the output voltage is given 3 volt peak to peak. It means my maximum voltage or the peak value will be a 3 volt peak to peak divided by 2, and that is a 1.5 volt. Correct? Slew rate is given as a 0.5 volt per microsecond. Find the maximum frequency of operation. Maximum frequency of operation means the operational amplifier will give you the undistorted signal. And that is given as, already we have seen that the F is equal to S upon 2 pi into Vm. Remember, this maximum frequency is also known as a full power bandwidth. This S is known as a full power bandwidth of the op-amp. Remember, it is a different than the half power bandwidth of the op-amp. So here the S is a 0.5. Now remember, 0.5 volt per microsecond. So this is actually written as 0.5 divided by 10 raised to minus 6 volt per second. So here we will write 10 raised to minus 6 divided by 2 into 3.14, and my peak value is 1.5 volt. Correct? And if you calculate this, then this will come out to be a roughly a 53 kilohertz. So up to 53 kilohertz you have a undistorted signal, and then after the distortion will start, means your sine wave is going to be converted into a square triangle. Here the waveform, output waveform of the operational amplifier is given. What is the problem? The output of the op-amp voltage follower is shown in the figure, or a square wave input of the frequency, that is a 2 megahertz, and 6 volt peak to peak amplitude is there. What is the slew rate? So the slew rate is nothing but, we have defined the slew rate as dVo by dt maximum, correct? dVo by dt means simply you have to find out what is the slope of this. So here if you see, if you find out the slope, then you can take this. This will give you delta Vo, this will give you delta T. So what is the delta Vo? Delta Vo is from 3 volt to minus 3 volt, so it is a 6 volt. And what is delta T? It is a half of this, so here it will be a 0.25 microsecond. So the slew rate will be equal to 6 divided by 0.25 microsecond. Microsecond is there. So this will comes out to be 25. 25 multiplied by 4, 24. I think so. It will be a 24 volt per microsecond. Correct? So this is the slew rate of the operational amplifier. Normally, the slew rate of the operational amplifier for the rising gauge, this is a rising gauge, remember, and this is a falling gauge. It is almost same, but it is not necessary that always the slew rate for the rising gauge and the falling gauge will be same, but in most of the operational amplifier, it will be a identical.